Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. Oh, you suck. We're going to use this as a hybrid episode, except that there'll be actual class in this episode, whereas most stuff we release on You Suck is just trash, basically. So,
he doesn't know us, does he?
today I'm speaking to the guys from Lingen Davies. Obviously, we're doing this very important thing in September. We're doing the Pod Aid 24-hour podcast challenge. And I chose to help you guys because when I think of Shrewsbury charities, I automatically think of Lingen Davies. I don't know why. It just happened. So I wanted to do something that wasn't vain. That wasn't like, oh, look at me, I'm a content creator, look at my cool pictures on Instagram. I want to actually help my community and encourage others to do the same. So that's why we're doing this. But I think we need to find out more about Lingen Davies and what it is you guys do. But first of all, let's go around the room and let's introduce everybody individually. We'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Naomi. I'm the Chief Executive Officer at Lingen Davies.
Hi, I'm Helen. I'm a Development Manager at Lingen Davies.
Hi, I'm Lizzy. I'm the Events and Fundraising Officer at Lingen Davies.
I'm Anna, and I'm the Communications and Fundraising Officer for Lingen Davies.
And the pickup of Alex's troubles, because I've been an absolute. I kind of bit off more than I could chew with this because it's 90 mile an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's just nuts, absolutely nuts. Hey, I'm taking pictures. I'll put sunglasses on. I look cool.
Yeah, you said room earlier. We're not in a room.
We're not in a room. No, we're actually in the beautiful
outside.
gardens. Did I say a room?
Yeah. You said we're going to go round the room, and I'm thinking,
oh, yeah.
Where's the room?
It's actually one of the most beautiful setups I've done in a podcast. So we've sat got a bush behind us and roses. And it's nice.
Daisies.
No green screen needed. So let's talk about Naomi. I met you a while ago on the Shrewsbury Biscuit. We're talking about events and fundraising and what it is that you do.
Yep.
Can you elaborate about what it is that you do for Lingen Davies for our listeners?
Yeah, okay. So Lingen Davies is the cancer charity that supports people with cancer in Shropshire, Telford and Wrekin and Mid Wales. So my role is CEO, so I oversee the team and hopefully give some assistance to them to try and get their work done. The team's changed quite a lot over the last few years. I've just come back from maternity leave and I've come back to quite a different team, and it's a great time to come back.
Is it a case of walking in and what have you guys done?
Well, we haven't burnt the place down, so that's the start, isn't it? But no, it's really exciting time to come back. We've got loads and loads going on, and of course we've had a really tough year, as has everybody. We were when the pandemic first kicked in, we were really, really nervous because our funding comes almost entirely from the community. So of course your fun runs, bake sales, 24-hour podcasts, etc. in lockdown, of course, wasn't doable. So we didn't really know what was going to happen. Yeah. But we've been extremely lucky. So we have been hit quite hard. We've taken about a 40% hit to our income, but things are coming back. And actually, people have been really, really generous. And we've expanded the team, as I say. So Helen and Anna have both joined us within the last sort of 18 months to really help us to build up a bit more proactive fundraising. They'll tell you a bit more about what they do, but we're trying to grow, we're trying to develop. We've got some really, really big ambitions for the future. All our money, as I say, goes to support people in our local area who are living with cancer, and that might be to raise money for equipment and buildings like we're doing at the moment. It might be running wellbeing programmes, funding sort of more holistic support, to make people sort of feel better as well as actually helping them through their treatment.
Yeah, because this is the thing that you got to think of, isn't it? Like, yeah, you could throw someone through chemotherapy, or you can do this, or radiotherapy, but what happens to them as human beings whilst they're going through that, Yeah,
and often the impact of treatment is really quite severe on people, and treatments increasingly they are a lot kinder than they used to be, and more they're really focusing on trying to be very accurate with treatment and making sure, if someone's having radiation therapy, for example, radiotherapy, that they're not affecting any healthy parts of that person's body. So the technology is amazing. The knowledge around how that treatment can be delivered, it gets better and better all the time. But the impacts are still there, and of course emotionally, it's a really stressful thing for people to go through. And as you say, you can put them through their medical treatment, but at the end of that, they've still been through something potentially quite traumatic. They might have long-term effects, and actually what happens to them then? So we're really interested in supporting people to live really well. And to, come back as far as possible to normal following their treatment. One of the other things we're focusing on at the moment is looking at, we've got a project called Live Life, which we're just launching at the moment, which is focused on really trying to get people to understand the symptoms of cancer. So this is before anyone's been diagnosed with anything. Understand the symptoms, get diagnosed quickly if they do have any symptoms they're worried about, and also try and prevent and try and lower their risks of getting cancer. So, for example, really simple things like wearing your sun cream when you're out on a hot day like this. We go out.
Whoops.
You're in the shade, Alex, for now. We were out at Attingham Park last weekend for 2 days with free sunscreen on the door. So anyone who's turned up without their sun cream, we were there. Give you a bit of sun cream, help you out for that day, and hopefully it makes people think about, actually, next time when it's hot and sunny, I do need to bring some out. So simple things like that, little things that help people to lower their risks of getting ill in the first place.
I was driving up Wild Coppier yesterday, and there's this woman that was walking down, and she was purple. She was purple, and I was like,
Like
oh,
a sunblock on.
No, she literally just
Just too
frazzled
much
in the sun. You know,
No,
I drove
so
past her and I was like,
unpleasant.
oh, poor lady.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really hurts, doesn't it? Yeah, as much as anything else, it's horrible. It is horrible.
Yeah.
Moving on to you, Helen.
Yes.
What is your role? What do you do for Lingen Davies?
Good question, really, Alex. So my job is to develop the charity, and I started May 4th last year, so just as pandemic was about to hit. So challenging time to try and develop any business or charity, really, when you're struck down with a pandemic. But in the longer term, or shorter longer term, the idea is that Lingen Davies, we currently receive most of our income through community fundraising.
Okay.
And that is from, as Naomi's alluded to, cake sales, people having a raffle, garden parties, and we do incredibly well. And all that money that we receive in is what we call unrestricted income. So we can decide, as long as it's helping those people affected by cancer, we can decide what we're going to do with it.
It's a huge responsibility, though, isn't
Massive responsibility.
Yeah.
And that
it?
is...
You've bought a what?
Exactly. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. No, it's true. It's very true. So the idea of my role is to look at different ways that we could bring income in and increase that and increase our awareness geographically. You touched earlier, Alex, on saying you see us as a Shrewsbury charity, which is amazing. And that's because we're based here in Shrewsbury.
Course, yeah.
But actually, if you look at our stats, we see more people from Telford and Wrekin, from over that side of the county, and we see a large amount of patients from Mid Wales. So we've got to try and shift the thinking that we are that Shrewsbury-based charity, because I think that's how people perceive us, and move that into a broader aspect of Shropshire. And especially as Telford is developing and there's more people living there, etc. And also look after our people in Mid Wales as well. So my role is very much about that, so expanding geographically, awareness, so we get new people supporting us. Also our demographics, so we want more young people, and Cancer Research actually a few years ago did an amazing job with this with their Race for Life. So they had a demographic as a charity of people who supported them, generally in anything at 40 plus in age, and the Race for Life has changed the way that people perceive cancer research. And I don't know if you will think about that now, but that was a real shift for them. So I was a classic, being my late 40s, of being a cancer research supporter, but actually now demographically my children 2 weeks ago did the Race for Life at school, and that was a new product that they brought in very cleverly and completely changed the dynamics of that charity with the way it looked.
I talked about where I had Dr. Joanna Dodd-Massey on the show. The guy, listeners from USOC will remember that interview that we did, and we talked about intergenerational, working together with the younger generations, because the older generation. I'm an older generation now. I'm in my mid-30s. Do you know what I mean? I'm like that. You guys are laughing, but it's true, man. There was a different way. I didn't have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook when I was a kid.
No.
These guys are growing up with it, and they might have a different way of thinking. So that is actually a really valid point.
Yeah, it is absolutely, and that doesn't mean that we don't appreciate everybody that chooses to support us, and and obviously the situation is that cancer patients generally that come and see us are older, and so naturally those people that are giving money to us are those affected by cancer. that's the way it's going to be. But it's so important that we talk to our younger audiences, because they are our future. And that's the same with any charity and any business. And sometimes that's ensuring, and we'll come on to Lizzy, I know, shortly, but when she looks at her events programme, that we're making sure that we offer a range of events to suit lots of different people. So that's part of my role, and also looking at different ways that people can give. So we have a huge array of ways that people can give to us, but we are not always brilliant, until Anna came on board, of how we tell people that. So we do a lottery, people can join our Friends scheme and give monthly to us. We have a legacy programme where people can think about leaving a legacy in their will. There's so many different ways that people can actually support us, and lots of different people, but we have to be able to communicate that out well, and that's something that we need to work on. So yeah, it's not a short-term job. My job is never a short-term win,
no,
sadly.
Yeah.
But it's looking towards the future. And also, as Naomi says, we've got a new team. So I've brought Anna on in the past 2 or 3 months. We're developing Lizzy in her role so that she can go on to do bigger and better things for us. So it's as much about people development and our team's development, as well as our communications awareness and making sure that people know about us as much as they possibly can. But we're in a great place.
Yeah,
good. I've come in here and I'm blown away. I really am, genuinely. It's an amazing charity. We've got some great people that work here, and we have a huge amount of support. So we've got the basis of something very special.
Yes.
And it can only get better.
Well, you made me feel better anyway, because I'm not just helping Shrewsbury, I'm helping Shropshire, Mid Wales, and
yes, definitely.
Yeah, so there we go.
Thousands and thousands. 40-odd thousand people come through our system. It's massive. So we need to. So appreciate that.
There you go, guys, listeners. Put your money in your pockets.
Yes.
That's what
absolutely. And they can give, can't they? When we do the actual live.
I think possibly. I think the website actually is displaying the text to donate
Is it already?
Yeah,
I love it. This is good.
We are absolutely hammering we got a huge list of sponsors, companies around Shrewsbury. There's some in America. There's some all around the world, and we've been hammering these companies. Not hammering them with like multiple emails, but like getting through the list as quick as possible. We will get all those 24 slots filled, I imagine.
Love it.
So
well done, Alex, and thanks for all you're doing.
No. I'm not even good at what I do. I just do it because I'm bored.
That's so not true. That's not true.
Lizzy, what's your role then? What is it you do?
So, as I said earlier, my role is fundraising and events officer. So, I mainly focus on the office-based events that we run. So things like our colour run, our annual fundraising balls, things like that. So I came on board about 3.5 years ago now.
Wow.
And previous to that, Lingen Davies had not done their own events before. So as Naomi and Helen have already said, we relied a lot on community fundraising. So when I was brought on board, that was to organise our own events to help us better plan for income that we would have coming in, so that we would be able to rely on it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So once we got it all up and running, 2019 was kind of a bumper year for us. That's when we really got our events up and running, hoping to do them annually, and then obviously COVID hit, which was not fun.
Yeah.
But we're back up now. We've done some virtual events throughout the pandemic, which has been great. It's been really good to see people.
It's not the same, is it? Though?
No, it's not. It's not. It's not as good as getting people together and having that kind of community spirit of supporting a charity.
Trying to control a Zoom room is just a nightmare. It really is. Big one
really
anyway.
Is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we did virtual events throughout the pandemic, and we're getting our calendar up and running. We've got a few things going on later this year that we are soon to announce that people can get involved with, and we are putting together our plan for next year, which has got lots of things, like Helen said, a variety of events, different kind of running events, or we've got an afternoon tea.
Stop doing running events.
Yeah, well, exactly. Not everyone wants to run, do they?
I'd like a walking event as well.
A walking event. We've got a walking event going on, hopefully.
Okay, sign me up.
We need to get you
afternoon
training.
teas.
Come on, Alex.
I do. I'm kind of losing all this weight.
We could do a 0 to 5k. We can do a couch to 5k.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
That's genuinely a really brilliant idea.
Yeah. Well, we could do. You could do a train on a train to do a couch
Alex's
to 5k.
gut buster for
In the
for
month
Lingen.
while you're at the thing.
2022, Alex. This is. We're going to set you this target now.
Okay.
And then you can run something like Shrewsbury 10k for us.
I've been dying to. I keep saying
Davies.
1 year I'll do the 10k, and I will because like. Now I'm starting to lose my weight again, and got look, like this T-shirt, right? It's like
It's amazing.
it's crazy, right? Because
Love it.
we did a
Hanging
photo
off
shoot in
you.
town, and it was like my belly was like pushing the thing out. So I'm kind of like, this has really helped me today. It's the first time I wore it in a while, so I'm like, yeah.
That's
And now
good.
you're like,
Well
let's
done.
run a marathon. Okay, cheers.
No,
That's
you
one
don't need
step.
to run a marathon. You just need
Naught
to
to five.
10k.
10k.
That is so doable for next year.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
What
you
she
hear that,
tells me
guys?
all the time. So this is what she tells me all the time, and I
no,
still haven't run a
training
10k.
No, we should do our own couch to 5k.
You should.
Someone should train as a run leader.
Yeah.
Well,
Naomi,
I'll
you've got
nominate
loads
Helen.
to be the run leader. Naomi loves this sort of stuff, and she's, what else has she got to do?
Exactly.
fine.
Alex has got
Yeah,
loads of
take
time
it
on his
on.
hands to train.
Oh yeah, it's so much time. And maybe after Pod Aid, we'll definitely.
Yeah.
In fact, I think after Pod Aid, I'll be kind of like, it's too quiet.
Well, there you go.
There's not much going on.
We get London Marathon places, Alex. If you really want to go for it.
Next
My-
year.
Yeah.
My wife would be like, he's spending far too much time at home these days.
Yeah. You need to. Apparently, Chris Evans's book. Chris Evans Virgin Radio. Sorry, am I allowed to say that?
not
on here?
well, Virgin.
Yeah.
Virgin
Sorry,
Radio.
is that a plug? I don't work for them. But I'm a big Chris Evans fan, and he's written a book about training for a marathon. And apparently it's amazing, and it literally is a step by step of how to do it.
That's cool.
Get that book.
Okay.
Do it.
I thought meant Chris Evans as Captain America. Got a little bit excited. Not
No,
gonna lie.
sorry. Sorry, no, I was
Another point.
Very different
I'm
man.
on.
Yeah,
I'm with
sorry,
you.
Lizzy.
Chris Evans. Sorry. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, we've got lots of different events next year. Afternoon tea we have as well, which if you want to just have a leisurely afternoon eating some cake in aid of charity, we do that as well. Some golf days and things. Look out for the programme. We will announce it very soon, and we'd love
Amazing.
people to get involved.
Now, before we get on to Anna, like when it comes to events, have you guys been storing stuff in a bottle like throughout the year with the pandemic? Have you had all these
I used
ideas
to
that just
say
want to
about
spill out?
bottles.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we to be honest, it's the one thing about the office is when we all get in, it's a bit dangerous because we're all like, oh, I've had a thought.
Yeah.
And this is a really good idea. And have you seen this? And blah blah blah. Because we get a lot of our ideas, or I certainly do, off social media and what other people are doing. Yeah, we do have lots and lots of ideas, don't we? Sometimes we need
creative
reining
office.
in.
We do.
Prioritise what we're going to do.
That's why we've got Naomi, chief
Yeah.
exec.
I'm like, "Hey, we're going to do this," and she's like, "Have you thought of this?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, no." That might be a slight hindrance.
Yeah.
Comes back off maternity and there's this massive binder just chucked on a desk. Just sort through all that.
The
Yeah, it was a
ideas
bit like that.
binder, Naomi. She's like, no.
I am not. I love an idea.
Yeah, she loves
Yeah,
I
you
love
do
an
love an
idea.
idea.
But we do have meetings sometimes. We're like, we've got this great idea, and by the end of the meeting, it's clear we're definitely not doing that idea. But that doesn't happen that often.
No.
I should have said also, as part of my role, I support fundraisers who do stuff for us. So people that do their own third-party events. So we've got a gentleman doing like a steam train event with a barbecue, and lots of other people like yourself with Pod Aid. I know Anna supported you with that one. She does a bit of it as well. I'm really positively over the past couple of days. I've had loads of phone calls about people starting to do things again, which is great.
It's probably helped by
Really
the
cool.
weather.
Well, yeah.
Why didn't we think about doing that?
Absolutely.
It's really
Yeah.
exciting. Oh, I'm going to do this for you. It's great. So yeah, I support them and make sure they've got everything they need, and they have t-shirts and banners and promos and things. So
Yeah.
That's one thing I was like, can I get a t-shirt? And you guys were like, yes, you can have a t-shirt, Alex. Stop going on about the
Yeah,
t-shirt.
everyone
Without
loves the
one.
t-shirt.
Yeah. But I think, and also that's a really important part of what we do, especially being a cancer charity, is that we are supporting our supporters, because not only do we need to support the people affected by cancer that are going through treatment, those people that come to us. I'm working with a guy at the moment who lost his mum 10 years ago, and it's her anniversary, and she would have been 60, and he wants to do something in her memory. It's really important that those people get supported from us. So because a lot of fundraising is part of their bereavement, so it's really important, that is.
Yeah.
And I think we do a really good job of that here. I think we can always be better, but I think it's something that the team do really, really well.
Yeah, and we love getting to know people as well. It's just nice to talk to people who want to support us, and a lot of them have had their own personal experience here, which sometimes doesn't end well, but they always say that the treatment they've received is kind of second to none, which is part of obviously what we do, what we fund. So it's great to just to meet them and build up a relationship with them. We really love doing that.
That's really nice. That's really nice. Because you're not just a company. You're
Absolutely not.
You're just.
It's much more than that to all of us.
It's lovely. That's really nice. Anna, you've not long been here at Lingen Davies. What's it been like since you started? What's this like as a company to walk into? It's fresh in your memory.
Gosh, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, so my background's in communications. I've never particularly worked in fundraising before, but to have a job where you get to do what I love, which is writing and communicating for a charity like this, is kind of incredible. Everyone's lovely in the office, and it's busy. As Lizzie said, I've walked in this morning and oh my gosh, I've got so many amazing new fundraisers that I'm going to pass over to you to do the communications. So my current 3-day weeks, I think I could 3-day-a-week weeks. I could basically work 24/7 and still be kept busy by all the incredible things that are going on.
Now, what do you mean by comms, though? Is that like...
Sorry, I forget. So basically my role is to promote the charity and raise its profile in the local media, grow its social media following. It's interesting talking about young people and how we reach the young audiences. We have talked about having a charity TikTok.
Good.
How would that work, and who would we reach with that? Exactly. We've got lots of wannabe dancers in the office, so I think we could do something.
Yeah, Anna does
that one.
Oh, let me take a picture of you with this thing outside, and then I'll put it in the paper, and I can just imagine like, oh, did this dance for TikTok?
Yeah.
Shane is the TikToker of the Biscuit Group, and he's like, we should do it. I'm like, no. And he's like, no. I think it'd be good because I've done some cool stuff with TikTok, but I think it's really good to show a bit of positivity as well. I think that's one of the most important things about what we do, is being positive. The Shrewsbury Biscuit, and I think Lingen Davies, people see. Do you think TikTok is the platform just to show the happy side of things, or the difficult side of what Lingen Davies do? There's room for both. I mean, my only experience with TikTok is my 12-year-old daughter, who went on and on and on about getting it, and I didn't really understand it, and I looked and I was just like, it's just a lot of girls dancing, and why is that so exciting? But when you actually look at it, there are some quite serious people getting across a serious message, and it's just another great platform, another online platform that we can These things
use.
come and go. They come and go. What's the one that's just died that was only out for like 3 months? What's it called? Social media that you could only get invited to. What's it called?
Oh yes, I got sent an invite to that actually. Can't remember the name of it, but I ignored it because it was so niche. It didn't really.
I've forgotten the name of it. We were talking about just last night. So like they had this social media.
Yeah, it was actually from my one.
Not invited to that one.
Good pants friend.
The social media that you could only get invited to, and it died. There's no point. It's too late now. Don't join it. And these things come and go. There's always something new, right? And that's kind of got to be difficult. Kind of keeping your ear to the ground, making sure you're on top of everything.
This kind of goes back to our demographic. We want to. My job is to reach to as many people as possible, to let them know the work we're doing, and especially to talk about our supporters and the incredible stories that we have. And get something in the paper. We talk to Radio Shropshire. We've got really good relationships there. We've got a newsletter that goes out regularly, because obviously not everybody is on social media. So it's just thinking about how we reach all of our different supporters and how we talk to new people as well. So Helen, and again, this is how we work. Helen's come up with this amazing idea. And she's like, right, bottles. We're going to have a bottle campaign. We've got a bottle drive going on. After the last year, the store cupboards are empty, essentially. So when people come to Lizzy and say, I'm doing a garden party, or can you put a hamper together for me? Usually it would be a case of going in the back, seeing what we've got, putting something together. Lizzy then gets it out to them, but there's nothing there. The cupboards are bare. So Helen's idea, get people to come into the office with a bottle, so full bottles of a bottle of wine, a bottle of really nice olive oil, some bath stuff, anything that would make a nice present, so a nice raffle gift, or to build up a hamper. So Helen had the idea. Anna, this is the idea, let's run with it. I put something out in the paper. Someone came in the other day with some nice bottles. So we've already, the the way that we're working is proving effective.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had something come back
And I
through.
also think post-COVID, people want to get out now. I think that, we used to have loads of people coming through the office.
Yeah.
And obviously that hasn't happened. And we want to get that back. We want to see people coming to see us and talk to us. And so, I thought that the bottle idea would also be that door opening for people to come and see us, as well as, and it's affordable. You can bring me 6 fruit shoots, doesn't matter, or you can bring some nice gin, actually, which we can drink. No, we won't drink. But it's something that's available for everybody, whether or not you're 5 or whether or not you're 105. And then you can come and see us. And that's what we love.
Yeah. We like talking to people, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
It's an amazing, so your communications are working, and not only that, people are helping. So it's like this goodwill all around. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I love it. You guys are doing great jobs, all of you together. Fantastic. Well done. Proud of you.
Not a bad team, is it? It's a great team to be
It is a
part
great
of.
team. It is a great team. Yeah. And I accidentally went to the wrong Lingen Davies, by the way. Across the way is the actual ward treatment centre.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way.
That way.
And I walked in, I was like, I'm here to do the interview. They're like, are you here for radiology? And I was like, no. Radiography. And I was like, no, I'm here to do an interview. And they're like, this is a hospital.
So leave now, sir, please.
I gotta say that the people up there are really nice, and the place, it looks fantastic. So that's what you guys are funding, right? That's the goal, to make sure that runs well.
Yeah, so yes, so what we do is we fund normally what will happen is the hospital trust or other people, so we have previously funded people like Shropshire Council or Seven Hospice we're currently working with on some holistic therapy projects. So they will Lingen Davies was started in 1979 because we had no cancer services at all in Shropshire. So anyone who had cancer in our region would have to go to either Wolverhampton or Birmingham or Stoke, which is a really, really long way, particularly those in mid Wales, because they were doing that as well.
Densely populated areas as well. Imagine waiting times would have been terrible.
Well, yeah, and the mayor of Shrewsbury, Bernard Lingen, and Frank Davis, who was his accountant, decided that's really silly. We need services here. There wasn't any sort of government funding going for that at the time, so they did a fundraising appeal to build what has now become that centre. So that there's an old part of it. It's since been extended, and that was opened in 1982, and then we actually raised £3.5 million more recently to extend it into the centre that it is today. Okay. So it's now run as part of the hospital trust, but we will fund specific staff roles, specific bits of equipment. So for example, at the moment we're fundraising for a new CT scanner, which is an enormous machine that is used in the planning of treatment. So if somebody's got cancer, they'll be put, often they'll have a CT scan which will show up where the cancer is, how big it is, what shape it is, all that sort of thing. And then their radiotherapy treatment will be planned to be very accurate to only get that tumour that's there. So that is currently being fundraised for at the moment, and we're also fundraising to extend the centre. There's a courtyard over there which is unused at the moment, and we're fundraising to put a roof on it and turn it into 3 clinic rooms. To try and build capacity, cut waiting times. One of the big things that's happening in cancer services at the moment is quite exciting, is there's lots of new forms of treatment coming out. Things like immunotherapy, which is using the body's own immune system really to help to fight off the cancer, which is being used alongside of and sometimes instead of chemotherapy, but it can go on much longer. The treatment can go on in some instances people's whole lifespan. Oh, wow. So that means a lot more appointments and a lot more space needed to do that, and the outcomes for patients are better. It's a great thing, it's a great move forward, but it needs more resource and it needs more space. So partly some of the use for those clinic rooms will help the team over the way to be able to do more of those treatments, get more people through. The rates of cancer keep going up, the population keeps growing, so inevitably it will do. Yeah. The ratio keeps going up. And they are so busy over there. And what we're here to do really is add value. So, cancer services essentially is being run by the hospital, but we want to make sure the services here are amazing. People here deserve the absolute best services that are available to them, and we can help make that happen. And whether that's quicker, whether it's a nicer bit of treatment, whether it makes it more more tolerable for the patient, whether it means they get seen sooner, all of that kind of thing. You know, I think sometimes people are like, oh, you know, Shropshire's a lovely little sort of quaint backwater kind of place, and there's a bit of that, and actually people here, their lives and they deserve the treatment that you might just as much as somebody who lives in the middle of a big city and has access to an enormous shiny teaching hospital, you know, and the services they deliver over there are amazing. The feedback from patients is amazing, and we're here to keep that as fabulous as it can be.
Fantastic. That's really cool. Not cool, but great. You know, like, oh yeah, there's nothing cool about cancer, but like what you guys are offering is fantastic, you know, and what you guys managed to build since, you know, for the last 50 years.
It's 43. 42 years. 42 years.
Mathematics,
yeah, last
guys.
month we were 40. Yeah, that was really hard, wasn't it? Considering we did a 40th anniversary appeal, which we banged on about for like 3 years. We should know this.
In the time that you've been here, Naomi, what are your most memorable moments of putting things together? Something, maybe it's your first event that you had when you were here, or we can go on the table.
That's a great question. I think a couple of things. The event that sticks out in my head is the colour run, because I think it's not our event that's made the most money.
No.
But it's the first event that me and Lizzy did that was ours, and we did the whole thing. And it was really hard work.
Bad. Yeah. I missed it.
Next time, it's back next year.
Cardio, man.
It's only 5K.
I've got to sign up for it as well. So
we'll all do it next year. Yeah, and I think for me that's the one that sticks really, because it was ours. And I think a lot of the other things we've done, I mean, the most profitable event we've done was Ludlow Races. So they do an event every year in normal times, which is a charity race day. And you know, I can't remember what the figure was. It was between £50,000 and £60,000 that made us in a day, which was incredible.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And it was amazing, and we were so grateful for being chosen as the charity for that year. And again, it was a lot of work, but the event is quite formulaic. So the event is what it is, and you have to do a lot of work getting your guests there. You get your, you know, setting all the tables and stuff on the day, getting everything right, getting your auction right. But we hadn't conceived it, had we? It wasn't. Whereas the colour run was ours, and we'd come up with that from scratch. I think, though, the biggest thing for me was when we did our Ruby anniversary appeal, we were trying to raise £1.25 million, and we did it about 3 weeks early, and I knew we were going to do it. And the day we did it, I was in the office on my own, and it was such an anticlimax. I made a video and put it on Facebook about how excited I was, because I think everyone was on holiday, and I was just like, oh, we've done it, yay! After like 2 years, and you sort of want to be all excited about it, and I was absolutely bouncing off the walls, but I was literally sat in the office by myself, being like, woo, yay! And I'd sort of seen it coming, and for me that was really memorable that I think it felt like a really bold thing to very publicly say we're going to raise that much money, because it was a big step up for us. That it was a 40% increase on our previous 2 years, and it was a bit of me being quite bold about what we could achieve, and underneath it all my head's going, are we going to do it? Is it going to happen? I'm not 100% on this. And then when we did it, and we did it early, that felt like a big deal.
Nice.
And the money went to some great places.
Wow, I can
it's made a lot of difference.
Over £1 million, you know.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to make a couple of grand over this. Do you know what I mean? But it's the first charity.
It all adds up, honestly.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask as well. What does the money go towards? I mean, say like you did 60 grand there.
Yeah.
What happens with that? Does that get separated and goes to save for lots of different things, or will that all just go on one bit of equipment or one?
It depends what we're doing at the time. So at the moment, the most of our money is going into the CT and the clinic rooms, which we're sort of doing at the same time, really. But we also do things like a small grant scheme. So we have some money that we sort of keep at hand. So we do grants for £10,000 or less, which is a much quicker turnaround. So basically, someone needs the money for example, really interesting one we did a couple of years ago was a radiotherapy thing. So some tumours in breast cancer or in the chest, the accuracy of radiation depends on your breathing. So obviously they don't want to hit the heart in particular, and they need patients to hold their breath at a certain level to make sure where the tumour is doesn't move. And we funded a thing called a visual coaching device, which is something patients could look at, and there's lines on a screen and it shows you what level your breath's at.
Oh, wow.
So it shows you whether you're holding your breath at the appropriate level or not for your treatment to be safe.
Clever.
And that's really clever. And it's something that it wasn't, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that much money. It was about £10,000. But that will make a massive difference to those patients' quality of life because it will stop them getting any sort of impact on
Higher
their heart,
accuracy,
hopefully,
yeah,
or
yeah.
certainly limit that impact. And things like that, if somebody says we want one of those, we've got the money to just do that. And that's really great. And, we did another thing. We bought a camera for the pathology lab because they were struggling with being able to look at samples. So when somebody has a biopsy of a tumour to see whether it's cancerous or not, we got them a new camera because it made that analysis of that tumour quicker, which means patients get results quicker,
Yes.
they're more accurate. And again, it was, in the grand scheme of things, not an expensive piece of kit, but it's made a massive difference to that service. So we've got these little pots of money as well as the big stuff, but we tend to normally have a big appeal at any one time, and then there's little bits and bobs going around that as well. So it depends really what's needed at the time, really.
Speaking about pathology and phlebotomy and stuff like that,
Yeah.
we're speaking to Dr. Selena Nadelman on the 24 Hour, who's one of the leading biopsy doctors in America, which is great because I feel like there's got to be a conversation had with people around the world about how do you do this, and oh my god, that works for you, and oh my god, why don't we try that here, and things like that. So this is why I want to bring someone from the US over to have that.
That'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
Do you guys, I know you guys are raising money and stuff, but do you take influences from places all around the UK or the US or Europe, or is there anything?
We would take influences certainly over the UK, and perhaps a little bit in America, certainly with regards to things like events and what they're doing and what's working for them. But predominantly, I would say UK.
Yeah,
We do work with other charities. We spend quite a lot of time researching and looking at what other cancer charities do. So somebody like Clatterbridge is an amazing organisation who raise, I think it's probably over 3 million. And they're, in the whole grand scheme of things, they're probably quite similar to us, but obviously they're in a much bigger area. They've got a bigger team, what they do, but I see Lingen Davies aspiring to people like that, and it's good to follow them. And then we also have a network within our local area of other charities. So Lizzy and I are members of 2 other charitable networking groups that we attend relatively regularly. So we went to see Seven Hospice, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, find out what they're up to, because obviously they're just round the corner. I certainly speak to colleagues and friends at Hope House. So it's really important that we need to know what other people are doing. There's absolutely no point in 3 charities having a colour run all on the same day.
No, exactly.
That's just stupid. And there's enough money to go round. And we all need it for lots of different reasons.
That's what I found about this town there. Listeners in America or over the UK, wherever you're listening, you might be the same in your town too. But when it comes to charity like this, there just seems to be, I don't know if it's Shrewsbury or whatever, but there just seems to be an abundance of help, support.
I don't think it is just this area. I think that's, I worked for a national charity before I came here, and we worked with other national charities on projects as well. On our input as well as our output, if you like, so how we spent our money. So I think the charity sector is, it is a lovely sector to work within, but we do work very collaboratively with each other, and
Fantastic.
so we should.
I like that.
So we should,
I think collaboration is so important.
Yeah, it is.
With whatever you're doing, whatever job you're doing, whether it's a charity, whether you're a builder, whether you're a podcaster,
exactly.
Go out there and help your peers and your fellow.
And I think things have got better with that, don't you, over the years?
Especially during COVID. I think COVID was a fantastic
definitely. And I think social media's helped with that. LinkedIn, and that sort of thing.
There are problems with social media with misinformation when it comes to like health issues, which is difficult. But I mean, if you go to your trusted sources like Lingen Davies, like Seven Hospice, and Hope House, all these people that have dealt with these things, you know that they've had life experiences. And speaking of life experiences, I'll go to you, Lizzy, because you haven't spoken for a while. But taking COVID out of the equation, because we all know the problems that COVID has given us, but the challenges you guys face, what are the biggest challenges you guys face?
That's a good question. So, personally in my role as an event officer, as Helen said, obviously other people in the community are doing similar events. You know, charity events can be quite similar in the things that they organise, and trying to come up with new ideas and interesting ideas that people want to get involved with.
Another raffle, yes.
Yes, exactly. Another raffle, yeah. A big thing when I started, and I was working quite closely with Naomi, we said, you know, we want to do events that people want to come to because they're fun. Not just because it's Lingen Davies. Of course, we want them to support us, but we want them, like I say, to do it because it's fun and think, oh yeah, that would be a really nice thing to do. And it's coming up with those ideas that I find quite challenging sometimes, and doing it all the time. You sometimes have a bit of a brain block, which is why it's so good having these guys in the office say, oh, I've had this idea, but I don't really know how to kind of make it work or how we might go around it. That's a really important thing for me.
That's interesting that she hasn't said her budget.
I was coming on to that.
I was going to say, I'm surprised she didn't say, I need more money to put events on.
Here's a fiver, crack on.
Yeah. But it is a bit like that, you know, when Lizzie's putting events on all the time, it's about, you know, what can we get for free? What can we get, you know, you can explain that better than me, Lizzie.
Going to people all the time saying, we're a charity, please give it us for free. Sometimes you think, well, we've asked those people a lot, or we have quite a few business supporters that we're very close with and we work quite closely with. So we quite often go to them and say, we're doing this event, could you get involved? Can you do this? Can you do that? But sometimes you do feel guilty for asking them too much almost. You want to diversify and ask a range of people.
I've written a funding wish list today and sent it off. I know exactly what that's like.
Exactly.
I know exactly what that's like.
Yeah.
I'm very transparent how I run things, guys. But anyway, as well, I feel like that's an important quality to have, is being able to have that communication with someone and make the most out of the resources you have. I mean, this is what I have to deal with. I have done from the beginning. These microphones here are from Aston, and they're the Aston Stealth. I wrote to Aston. I was like, I want a quintessentially British microphone, and they were like the idea of USUK and USUK sort of stuff. So they give me these at a high discount, and you know, it's that I managed to get that by communication and conversation, and you know, that's really good.
What makes these quintessentially British?
Because they're made by a British company, Aston. Yeah, because a lot of people use Shure and Behringer and
don't know.
These are the Aston Stealth. They are very impressive. These are used by some of the biggest artists in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah,
I think they are the biggest artists in the world.
We might get contracts on the back of
You want to
it.
sing song, Helen?
Is there anybody wants to elaborate on the challenges? Naomi, have you got anything that you'd like to talk about? I think it's really good to add a human element to this. Like, what are you guys struggling with?
Well, where do you start? I think one of the things charities always have is the balance between resource and what you want to achieve. So you're always doing everything on the fly. You're always doing everything with not quite enough people, or not quite enough space, or not quite enough stuff. And
Or tables?
yeah. And you know, we're much better than we were. We're much better resourced than we were. But you've obviously, and quite rightly, we've got to be very, very frugal with how we spend our resources, and we don't want to be seen to be spending on anything we don't need, and we don't. We're very, very careful with that. And as I say, quite rightly, it's people's money. But it means, you know, sometimes you desperately want to do something, and actually you're like, we just haven't got capacity. We haven't got enough people. That isn't going to happen. And you see the opportunity go, and that's a real shame.
Yeah.
I think we as a charity, one of the things that we've worked on really hard in the last couple of years is building our sort of voice and our credibility in the sector and in the health sector as well.
Yeah.
I think previously we've been seen as quite a passive partner. So, you know, we'd get asked for money, we'd go, yeah, cool, you can have the money, and we hand it over, and that's it really. And now we're much more invested in what is happening with that money. You know, that clinic rooms project, I sit on the sort of regular project working group on that. You know, I sit in meetings about where they're going to put a crane and things like that, which isn't necessarily anything to do with my job, but it's us having a seat at the table and having some input into, you know, how are those rooms going to look, and actually are they the right thing for patients and things like that. And once we've had those rooms in, I want a sign on there that says we funded it, and then we're going to do a story about it, and then we're going to talk about it. And we're much trying to build ourselves as a credible partner in what those services look like, rather than just somebody who's going to hand over some cash, as is a bit of a work in progress. But I think we've come a really long way on that. And we're certainly in a better place now to input, I think, into those things than we were.
That's what I mean. Communication is very important.
Yeah.
And speaking of, you've come in the post-COVID era when everything's changed to a virtual setting almost. How was that for you, Anna? Social media's changed. It has definitely changed for the good.
It has changed. Well, it's interesting. So when I walked in the door, handover time and the social media, there was a bit of a concern that we might not have enough content to go on it, and obviously over COVID times we hadn't been running events. We hadn't necessarily had that much to shout about. And now I find myself thinking, when am I going to schedule this? Because I could literally put out, 30, 40, 50 posts a day with the stuff that's going on, the amazing things that people are doing for us, the stuff we want to share people. So we talked earlier about Live Life Project. Miranda is out there in the community helping people find and access the information, the credible information, the official information about how to, live with cancer and help they can get. And I want, what are my challenges? I want to do this 24/7. I want to get that information out there. I want people to be able to access, the great things we're doing and find out what we're doing.
Social media. I nearly swore then. It is a pain. It is a full-time job in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I could spend all day, every day on social media.
And then you're like, am I over-posting? Am I posting enough? What's the right time to release this?
Minefield.
Yeah.
It is. We haven't talked about Elliot and Neve, have we?
We haven't.
No.
So
have we got time to talk about Elliot?
We've got as much time as you like, baby.
Elliot's important because we decided a few months ago now when the government set up the new Kickstart scheme.
Oh, is this Alex? Elliot.
Yeah.
We had a
What is
coffee.
all that about?
Yeah, it was funny. I think that's great.
I called him Alex for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
After I'd met you.
That's great.
It's just a sign of one being blonde and two my age.
I know who you're on about now. Yeah. So Elliot.
So Elliot, yeah. So we decided as an organisation. This is why Naomi came back from maternity going, who are all these people? So it was a decision that, Lizzy and I came to, that we needed some more support. And also we wanted, I think the Kickstart scheme is amazing. We're giving young people an opportunity, 6 months to learn. And I think Lingen Davies has got that opportunity. We've got the capacity and the support mechanisms in place to join this amazing team that we've all talked about this morning. So anyway, we went down that line. We've taken Elliot and Neve on. So Neve is admin support to our administrator Tony, and then Elliot has come on as a digital communications officer. Is that correct? Yes, it is. However, we have sort of broadened his job description slightly, and he is doing fundraising and everything else that comes with events and etc. But he is here to look at social media. And he's young, which is good.
Yes,
and of course that, and he's male, which is our first male in the office, which is also exciting. But that brings a new dynamic, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
The way we're currently, he's working a lot with you, isn't he, Anna, on things. But I'm hoping that we will start to see some different content writing on social media and how he speaks and how he interacts with his friends, because that's really, going back to what we were talking about earlier, it's really important. So he does 25 hours a week. And he's brilliant, isn't he? He's been
really good.
As is Neve, but Elliot in his role as comms and social media, I think is going to make a real impact for us.
I feel like I'm learning about this. My mic sounds weird. I'm learning about this intergenerational working thing at the moment, because part of the USUC team is the amazing, one of the most smartest people I know is Eric Fluger, and we've just released his very own podcast called Yelling at Clouds. An old guy who's very artsy, knows what he's talking about, teaching people about art and about his life, and it's fantastic. But so we've had JCBs, planes, dogs, helicopters. The air ambulance is doing a great job, so I'm not going to. So
I can just be RAF Shrewsbury, and we can just have a bit of a moan.
It's the news. And the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast, they're doing an interview right now. We can see them sat in the garden. He's sat there with his
carrying their baked beans
sunglasses
around. Or whatever else is in that hammock that's underneath it that you never actually know what is in there.
But the thing about me and Eric is he learns from me, because we put the show together, and I kind of know what I'm talking about sometimes. But he has this life experience, and I respect him, and he can just have to give me that look over the glasses, like, really, and I'm like, okay, sorry, Dad, okay, we'll go in a different direction, because it's important, isn't it? You
really
probably learn from Elliot and
yeah, definitely, and Lizzie the same.
And I think it goes as well with, in terms of, it's not an age thing at all, but Louise, who's our ops manager, who is not older than the rest of us, but she has been here for a really long time. She's been with the charity, is it 17 years, I think? And actually, it's not just an age thing, is it? It's an experience thing in the context. So, you know, she's the one that we go, what's this weird thing that we've just found in the cupboard or whatever, and she'll be able to tell you what it was used for in 2003 or something. And you're like, oh, right, cool. And it's brilliant to have that, and have somebody who's got that sort of corporate history, because, you know, I've been here 5 years. All of these guys I've recruited since, or you've recruited each other, and you know, we've got quite a new team now. So we've got Louise and Joy, who've been around for a long time. The rest of us are all really quite new, so we might go a little bit mad and start going, all these bouncing these ideas off and going, oh great, we're going to do this thing. And actually, it's handy to have people who have a bit of history and actually might say, you know what, we tried that, and this is why we didn't do it,
didn't work.
or whatever. And it is, and I think, you know, it's not just a generational thing, is it? It's about sort of learning from those life experiences within the team,
and respecting the history of the charity. You know, we you know, and I have to be really careful with that as I come in to develop, which is obviously what we want to do. But it's a fine line sometimes. You know, you ask about the challenges, but it's a fine line, making sure that we respect what we used to be, and you know, we respect that history and where we've come from, and making sure that we don't lose sight of that as we develop, because like any business, any charity, that should be something that, you know, be really important.
It's almost a tribute to the people that you help, and
absolutely,
you know, you know, you guys run the events and stuff, but I wanted to ask you, which was part of the brief as well, I forgot, but it's really important. The people that you help, do you have like a personal I know you sort of talk about, you do have a personal relationship with people that you help. No, there's the obvious issue with cancer, which isn't great. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it definitely doesn't go well. How do you guys deal with that issue?
The emotional side of it.
It must be difficult.
We look after each other. So I think, you know, there are situations that don't end well, and we do receive, you know, we receive money, and people come and talk to us about, you know, the loss of loved ones. And, you know, one of the things that Naomi and I are working with at the moment, tribute funds. So it is something that we deal with here. And it isn't always easy, because we have our own lives as well going on, and situations that aren't always easy at home for us as well. But I think the important thing is that we're close enough in the office to make sure that we, one, are able to support that person when they come through the door, and I think we can do that. I think we've got the right team to do that. And also ensure that when they've gone, that we make sure that we look after each other as well, and just take a little bit of time out, because it is hard. You know, some days we can, you know, Tony, bless her, on reception, you know, she can see 2 or 3 people perhaps that are coming in with a funeral donation or whatever, and wanting to talk about their loved one and what's happened, and that's hard. It's hard for them. And then, you know, it's lovely that they come and tell us. That's what we want. We want that. But it's also hard for Tony that she might be dealing with 2 or 3 people a day that are coming through sad in our door. It isn't always like that, but it can be.
And I think it's the flip side, isn't it, of us knowing some of our supporters really well, because some of our supporters are ill, and we know that when they come to us. And, you know, there's been a few, hasn't there, I think, certainly since Lizzy and I have been here, that have been really hard when they have passed away, because it does happen. And it can be some people who have been with the charity for really quite a long time. And it's a bit of an occupational hazard, really, isn't it? I think, unfortunately, and as you say, it's not every day, and it's a lot of the time, you know, a lot of people get better, and that's great.
Yin and yang.
But it is tough. And I think for me, with recruitment, we've interviewed people for jobs that have met the criteria for the job, but I could not have appointed them because I know they wouldn't deal with someone who's upset coming through the door. And if you can't do that, really, we're a small enough team that we can't really have someone in the office, because there's a good chance you could be there on your own. So everybody's got to, at the very least, be able to cope with that and be nice to that person and be able to manage that conversation, because you might well be on your own and you can't just leave somebody.
No.
So it is something that we recruit for.
I'm gonna say, I'm looking at it. Well, you're just freshly here. I mean, like, was that one of your concerns coming here? Like, that a chance that?
No, not really. I mean, I've had enough experience in the world to be able to deal with that.
Good.
Bizarrely, actually, when I started working on the Shrewsbury Chronicle about 17 years ago, and my very first job was to write the charity page for the Lingen Davies charity.
Oh, wow.
So I was talking to Louise 17 years ago about the lovely things that people were doing for the charity then. So it's kind of a nice little full circle that here I am again doing similar
Nice.
jobs.
Brilliant.
I have to say that I wasn't the opposite to Anna when I was appointed, but it was not a concern that I had. But I remember Naomi asking me in my interview, what is either a weakness or a skill that you think you need to work on? And I said, well, if I was successful, then I think I would need some support with kind of dealing with bereaved people and things like that. Because I am 25 now, and luckily I've never lost anyone from cancer. I've been very lucky. So they have really supported me through that. And I hope that you would agree that I can now kind of deal with that myself.
Oh yeah.
But,
Well, I think, Lizzy, you were always somebody who I think certainly, no matter how you felt about it internally, you certainly wouldn't. The person you're speaking to would never know that you were uncomfortable.
No.
You were able to deal with it, no matter how. Sometimes you might need to go and sit down afterwards and just have a bit of a sit. But I certainly don't. You've always been able to do it on certainly outwardly.
Yeah.
And as I say, it is something that we do really consider. Because apart from anything else, we all sit in the same room all day, so you don't want somebody that's going to, we recruit for people that we know we can work with and that our supporters will respond to, and people who are upset or exhausted from their treatment or whatever, they're going to have some empathy for that person. It's really one of the most important things, really.
I think empathy is one of the most important qualities in life. Absolutely, for everybody. It doesn't matter where you work.
Agree.
You've got to be able to understand and feel what those persons feel, and otherwise, you can be going in life and be a bit of a bastard, to be honest. Nobody likes a bastard. Well, okay, so we can round it up on an hour, but what does the future look like for Lingen Davies?
Well.
So that's a massive question.
Yeah.
Very loaded. I'm very sorry.
We're really ambitious, and we're about to. We were supposed to do some strategic planning last week for our 5-year plan, but my little boy had to isolate because his nursery teacher got COVID, so I couldn't run the session. He's free today. It's fine. He hasn't got COVID. So we are about to start planning for the future. Well, obviously we're already there, but we are about to launch probably a big 5-year plan. I think my thing I've been banging on about for years is I think we can get to £1 million a year turnover. Pre-pandemic, we were about 650,000. That's dipped a bit last year with the pandemic, but I think we'll bounce back to that relatively quickly.
We'll get you that just in Pod Aid alone. I mean,
well, it's an extra 300 grand, Alex. That'd be amazing. But we think we can do it with the team that we've got now. I think we can do it. But that's one target, isn't it? The fundraising, but it's also what impact is that money going to have? Where's it going to go? And we're looking broader. We're looking at our Live Life project is going to grow. We're going to do more about cancer awareness, more about prevention, early diagnosis, all of that stuff. There's a lot of gaps there that currently nobody's doing. So some stuff there. I think there is always going to be a need for this charity. There's never going to be enough money. There's never going to be enough services. There's always going to be something we can be doing. And the better equipped we can be to meet those needs more quickly, more effectively, the better. So, big plans.
Yeah, I think we're all aware that there's been quite a lot in the news that cancer diagnoses have unfortunately fallen during COVID because people are scared to go to the doctors, or they don't want to be in the environment of kind of a COVID environment in the hospital.
People just aren't getting diagnosed.
Yeah, people aren't getting diagnosed. They're not going to the doctors with their symptoms, and there is going to be a knock-on effect of that. Probably in the next 2 years, we're going to see a massive increase in cases. So that's definitely something that we need to consider in in what we're funding as we're going
So
forward.
there might be an absolute huge...
I think there will be.
Yeah.
I think generally with COVID, in every aspect, whether or not that be health or business or whatever it is,
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen the knock-on effects of that yet. Mental health as well is something that's going to be massive in
It's
the next few
affecting
years.
everything.
Of course it has. Everything. Children's education, everything. There's just every subject you could talk of, but there will definitely be a knock-on effect, sadly, to cancer. People will be presenting late for us here without a shadow, and because people have been scared to go to the doctors last year. So, and the thing is with cancer is if you get it early, then there's every possibility that it's curable. And that's why we see more and more people, because it's being diagnosed earlier, and that goes into a whole new conversation about how things have changed over the years with the word cancer in itself.
Yeah, that is really important.
Yeah, it is. It's just a whole new conversation.
It's a scary thing, and talking to Lizzy about getting older and being able to deal with it, I think it does come with maturity, because I've had friends that have had cancer, and I find it hard to have those conversations when I was younger, because I was kind of like, this is going to be such a sad conversation to have, but now I'm older, I'm kind of like, let's help this person.
Exactly.
There was a friend that was at absolute dire straits yesterday. Life is not going well for her at all. And I was like, I'll ring you. And I rang her, and she was in tears on the phone. I just wanted to speak to her, make sure she's all right. And she whereas a few years ago, I'd be like, oh my God, no, that'd be so depressing. Do you know what I mean? Selfishly.
Yeah. Definitely.
And what saying about holding out till COVID sort of calms down. I have personal experience of that. I'm going today to have a thing checked on my arm.
Yeah.
And I put off going to the doctors about that because of COVID. You're right. It's happened.
Yeah, of course, because last year, people didn't want to put themselves in that position. In going to the doctors, and they were scared, and also I think a lot of people will have gone, oh well, I don't want to put any more pressure on the NHS, because COVID was very much about pressures on the NHS and how they were going to cope, rightly so, but sadly that will mean that there are undiagnosed, as another plane, undiagnosed cases of cancer come through, and as I say, it won't be until probably next year, the year after, that we really start to see the onset of that, sadly. That there will be people that will pass from an undiagnosed cancer during COVID.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we...
And what advice would you give to someone now?
Get to the doctors. There's absolutely,
get check-in as well, check.
Yeah,
go
absolutely.
To
Yeah. Absolutely. You need to check. Chaps, men and women, definitely. We all know what we're looking for. We're looking for lumps and bumps and changes to skin and changes to bowel habits and eating, anything that you're not happy with or you're not comfortable with. Absolutely. And doctors, the GPs are there. Don't start Googling it. And get to
WebMD, don't do it.
Absolutely. And then get that referral. We see lots of patients that come in here and we say goodbye to them. Not everybody gets a cancer diagnosis. People come in through the system and they're like, oh, it's one of these, it's a polyp, it's something else. There's lots of other things that the body gets.
I'm sure that's what this is on my arm, but I mean,
exactly.
I've got to say, you've got to be insistent as well. I do believe that, because I went to doctors twice about this thing. The first time I was like, oh, it's fine, flicked it, and I went on my way. Do you know what I mean? Whereas then it started growing, I was kind of like, no, I need...
you're not happy.
And again, he was like, I'm 99% sure it's absolutely nothing to worry about. I was like, I want it checked, I don't care, do it.
Well done. Yeah.
So here I am today.
And but not everybody's got that confidence, have they?
No.
And it's really good that you've done that, Alex. It's really, really important. And I would just say to anybody, as you say, speak louder, ask again. It's okay to do that. It's okay to question. And talk to people about it as well.
Yes.
Especially chaps. Shockers at talking.
Oh, I know, and we
You're
try
a talker, obviously.
I'm absolutely a talker.
Yeah.
Unless I don't have a microphone in front of me, then I'm a nervous Nelly. I mean, you've probably seen a different version of me than we saw at Stop Cafe.
Yeah, of course.
Well, in front of a microphone, I'm like, hi, darling, hello, welcome to the biscuit. So, it is really important to be talking. Communication is very, very important with this, because, I mean, one of the most impressive campaigns I saw, I mean, this is a while ago, was the Jade Goody campaign.
Amazing.
That was like 10 years ago. Because
the sad thing is with that though, that's worn off now. So rates of cervical screening, they're actually dropping at the moment.
Wow.
So that was really impactful at the time. So getting people to have smear tests and so on was a big deal after that Jade Goody thing. And now, they reckon the Jade Goody effect, as they call it, has worn off.
Really?
And young women now are actually rates are dropping, and partly being put down to like Instagram culture, like people being so frightened of how they look and that they might look different or they might not look normal in inverted commas, that they're not going for a smear test, which is really frightening.
That's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. So that's one thing I'm on the bandwagon about at the moment and want to do something about it.
And for the American listeners on USUC, Jade Goody was a lady that went on Big Brother. She's very loudmouth, very lively, and kind of became famous because of her gob mainly, more of anything. And she got cancer, and within 6 months or something, she was gone.
Very sad. And she was, what, 30?
Yeah,
She had 2 young children as well.
She did have 2 young children,
Yeah. So, I mean, because she was famous and because of that campaign, it really helped a lot of people. So.
And she would be, you know, how sad is it that her legacy dies out like that? We need to, you know, girls just need to go and have that done. You know, it's one of those things. Actually, we'll just talk about that for a minute, Alex.
Please do.
She'll be delighted to talk about it. But it's one of those things that I went for mine just after Christmas, and I'd had my appointment come through before Christmas, and I was like, oh, I'll leave that till the new year. And in the new year, I went, and you come out and you go, oh, what was all that about? What was all that? You know, you build yourself up for this. You know, it isn't overly pleasant, but you know it's fine. And you talk to the nurse, and they usually ace, and you get it done, and it's like 5 minutes, 5 minutes of your life, and then a week later, I get my results back going all clear, which is obviously what everybody wants. But those that don't, then you know they go on to that next little bit, sadly, and the chances are then even after that it's probably all clear. But you know, it's 5 minutes of your life where you just need to make that appointment, go in, get it done, and you build up to it. It's nothing.
I'm the same. I'm due my examination, my first prostate examination. I'm laughing about it, but it's actually really important. It's on the flip side.
Important.
So I've got one, due soon. So I'll, but hey ho, it's one of those things. If you make sure that I'm healthy and safe. Words.
Healthy.
Yeah, healthy. Then I'll do it.
But
exactly.
There's reasons why these tests are there. You know, mammograms and smears and prostate. You know, all of that. They're there for a reason, and we pay for that out of our taxes. Remember that as well.
Yeah.
So you know that it's a service that's there for a reason. If it's caught early, you know, particularly with prostate cancer, you know, it's treatable. You can live with it for years. You know, the actual results of it, you know, are quite amazing. So get it done. You know, we need to prioritise our health.
Absolutely.
Much more than we do.
Yes. And I feel like you need to be selfish as well. You need to just put a bit of time into yourself. Like, don't worry about what's going on. Go and make sure yourself's healthy. You're healthy.
It's true.
Right, we've gone over an hour now. We've been under the D-Day flight path. I don't know what's been going on, but we're like, we've heard the Shrewsbury Biscuits recording. Let's just go, boys.
We haven't had the red arrows.
No. Where's my flyover?
Yeah,
I'm actually
it's rude.
So I hope this is for the listeners is a good introduction as to what Lingen Davies do and why we're doing this and what you're fighting for. But what I'll do now is tell you about Pod Aid and what we're going to be doing. So at 9 a.m. on the 29th of September, we're going to go live. We're going to do 12 hours of the Shrewsbury Biscuit, and then at 9 p.m. we're going to dim the lights a little bit, and USUC's going to come out to play. We're going to do 12 hours of USUC, so 24 hours live. We've got cameras thanks to Stage and Studio Shropshire. Trevor there from there, he's the amazing guy. I was like, can we borrow it? He's like, absolutely. So we got good cameras.
Great. Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks, Trevor. Shrewsbury Town, the community, wrote to them. Jamie was like, absolutely, we'll give you the Reach Community Hub. So we got a venue, and then Reach themselves. I was like, hey, can we? And they were like, yes. So these are again collaboration.
Yeah,
and the website as well. I left it a bit late to speak to Pete from Web Orchard, and Reach were like, we need a landing page. And I was like, sorry, Pete, we got like 2 days. I'm really sorry about this. And he was like, done. So we have a great landing page. So go to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast.co.uk. We're going to use the USUC website as well, but I got advised by experts that we should just use the one website for now so you can get all the information. And then what I'll do on USUC is I'll have a button that will take you to the website. So go to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast.co.uk, see all the information that's going on there. It's going to be fantastic. The schedule we've got, the people we've got coming in, is going to be great. You guys are going to take part in Wednesday Night Live.
Love it.
And Naomi's fellow Darren came on one of our hot wing quizzes. It's going to be fun.
Love it.
I'm not doing hot wings though, Alex.
No, we're not going to do hot wings.
Do you eat them? Hot wings?
Not really hot wings.
Not the way I think they did it the other night.
No. That
I
was,
don't do competitive hot wing eating.
What is hot winging?
You know, like the hot chicken wings.
okay,
Make them
so
as
there
hot
was
as possible.
I'll explain to you later.
there's this thing on YouTube called Hot Ones. It's a hot wing quiz and that the more they do it, the hotter it gets, the harder the questions get as well. So we did that for you, Suck. We're not going to do this for because I'll have
Helen wants to.
I'll have another 12 hours to go. But yeah, so please get involved with what we're doing. Please, we're after sponsors. You can email me, which is Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast at gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for today. I think we've done a great thing in introducing you guys to the world.
Thanks, Alex.
Introducing you to the world. Like I'm that big of a.
We're going global. Lingen Davies is going global, and this
global,
is amazing.
baby.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Right, this has been fantastic. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Alex.
Hey.